Okay, hello, good day everyone. Um, so here we have the topic about Filipino families, and then we will know about what are the different forms of Filipino families here we basically have here in the Philippines. So together with me is my co-presenter, Hazel Mae Calooy. So first, we will talk about its demography and epidemiology, social theories containing the structural functionalism, conflict theory, symbolic interaction, Nism, and then as well the spexic analysis about the overseas Filipino workers or overseas Filipino families, transnational Filipino families, internally displaced people, solo parenting, then parenting, and then grandparenting. As well, we provide the different programs and services, and we also provide our own recommendation and insights. So, so here, family. So, what are um, different forms of families here in the Philippines, and then what is the definition of family? So, family is a group of people that include our parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, and cousins who belong to the same ancestors and are related to each other by blood or marriage. So, Filipinos are now known for having strong and close family ties. They place high regard and put importance on their family before anything else. So, that's part of our culture that we nurture our relationship with each other as a family. Then they as so in that circumstances they place high regard and put importance on their family before anything else. So they work all day and do all that they can to feed and provide for their family. So here in the Philippines, they value our family so much that we keep them intact through the years. So demography according to 2020 population census, the average size of household in the Philippines was 4.1%. So this was lower than the average household since in 2015, which was 4.4. So overall, the average size of households in the country had been declining. So as of May 1, 2020, the Philippines had a total population of 109,035,343 persons. So of this total, the household population comprised 99.7% or 108,667,043 persons. So this is 8.01 million higher than the 100,573,715 household population in 2015. So 16.57 million more than the 92,097,978 household population posted in 2010. So here we can see the Philippine population in 2020. So as of this figures, and then the number of household increased by 3.42 million from 2022.98 million in 2015 to 26.39 million in 2020. So epidemiology. So based on 2020 annual poverty indicator survey, APIS, so 7.2% of the total family members reported that they got ill or sick or injured in the past month preceding the survey on the number of times the person got ill or sick or injured. So the percentage of family members the percentage of the family members who got it only once was recorded highest in Caraga with 12.1%. This was followed by the Region 5, Region 4, in Calabarzon and Mimaropa region. So by residents, rural areas, 7.8% had higher percentage of family members who got ill or sick or injured 1 month preceding the survey than those living in the urban areas which has 6.3%. 3%. So which consists across the frequency of occurrence. So by sex, males has 7.2% that higher percentage of family members who get ill or sick or injured compared to females, which has 6.8%. So meanwhile, the percentage points of the number of times the person got ill or sick or injured were almost the same for both males and females. So of the total family members, 5 years old and over who get ill or sick or injured, about 34.6% were not able to go to work or school or were not able to perform daily activities. Hazel?
Okay. So here are the sociological theories of our family. In structural functionalism, functionalists see the family as one of the essential, wait lang ha. Functionalists see the family as one of the essential building blocks for stable societies. They tend to see the nuclear family as the ideal family for industrial societies and argue that it performs positive functions such as socializing children and providing emotional security for parents. Also, in conflict theory, argues that there are two types of family, which are the privileged one and the poor ones. Also, conflict theorists have also seen the family as a social arrangement benefiting men more than women, allowing men to maintain a position of power. The, the traditional family form in most cultures is patriarchal, contributing to inequality between the sexes. In symbolic interactionism, it explores the changing meanings attached to family. They argue the shared activities help to build emotional bonds among the family. For example, it is to have a bond going to a church, eating out on a fast food restaurants, and such. Next level. Spexig analysis of overseas Filipino workers. OFW is an acronym that means Overseas Filipino Workers. It refers to the many Filipinos who have left their home in the Philippines in order to work abroad to provide for their families. They are called the modern heroes today because they are sacrificing for their family to have a comfortable life, fighting homesickness and such. Next, in social, overseas Filipino workers have been labeled in the community as modern day heroes because they contribute to the economic growth of our country through their remittances and most importantly, their personal sacrifice to give their families a comfortable life despite fighting homesickness. Next, political. Philippine government develops policies and programs to meet the needs of the OFWs. Many OWA services, which include healthcare, disability, and death benefits, and family welfare assistance, are available to all registered members. In case of death or total disability due to employment, OWA provides financial assistance to the next of kin who are the dependent spouse, children, or parents or siblings. Next, an economic lens. In economic lens, overseas social overseas Filipino workers entrust their savings to different investments such as property, stocks, and insurance. Aside from higher salaries, sending the children to school, having small properties or investments, and working in a greener pasture are the most common and simple reasons why OFWs choose to work abroad. Next, culture shock impacts overseas Filipino workers even after they have settled in the country and become comfortable with the new cultures. As OFWs, as OFWs, it's important to learn the etiquettes, customs, beliefs, and traditions in the host country you are staying. Any claim by you of cultural superiority is misplaced and fraught with the risk of your being is isolated. So avoid negative comparisons between your own and other cultures and drive away notions that you are culturally superior. Next, in spiritual lens, many OFWs also make sense. This, for example, ani is ang kanang infidelity nga kasagaran gyud siya mga hitabo which is kanang mag-abroad regali kay it's either ginabuhagan nila ilang asawa nga nabilin diri sa Pilipinas kay nagminyo og kanang afam nga naa sa trabahoan niya ana. Also in environment, living in a different space and environment, one must understand colleges from other cultures through their subtle differences in spoken communication, different food habits, spiritual leanings, dress, and overall behavior can reveal many fascinating aspects of others' cultural heritage. Critically acquiring cultural knowledge as well as just able to understand different behavioral responses in the workspace or a specific environment. Next. Last is the gender lens. Ah,
Sorry.
At, at times, Filipino society is tagged as patriarchal. This is in a part due to machismo attitudes and the masculine standards of many Filipino men. However, the Philippines is closer to exhibiting a matriarchal society. Female overseas workers are sending greater share of remittance compared to their male counterparts to support children's education despite the global gender pay gap. Phil started in 2018. Most of them have savings, but it was noted that not all of them have an investment in properties, insurance, stocks, as well as payment of a contribution in SSS, PhilHealth, and so on. Okay, there.
Okay. Next is the spec analysis of the transnational Filipino families. So, what is a transnational Filipino families? Who are they? So, transnational Filipino families are families whose members are separated physically between two or more nation states but maintain close ties and relationships. So these families are physically separated tungod kay nanarbaho sila sa gawas, nag-relate sila sa gawas in order have um to have a better life or for their future, the future of their family. So transnational family patterns and living arrangements are not a new phenomenon nowadays. Kay makita nato sa atong society, sa atong country, that daghan na kaayo ang cases na ani na migrate sa laing lugar in order to provide for their needs. So in social spectrum, so each family lives and approaches migration differently influenced by society. So na lahi-lahi ang perspective, lahi-lahi ang perception nga nganong ato si mother or si father sa gawas tungod sa different contribution sa society, ilang idea kung unsa ang kanaang pwede mahitabo if si mother to as a gawa. So makita na to sa atong society na if ang tao is OFW, if a family member is an OFW, so mas kuan sila, mas kanaang okay ang ilang pamuyo. So however, very often the main motivation behind the choice of moving to another country is the willingness to improve living conditions for a whole family, and if children are there, to offer them a better future. So as what I've said, to they go abroad because of the main goal to offer a better future for their family. So this is done at the price of separating from family members who will stay in the country of origin. So because of that, ma-separate sila sa ilang family, not just physically but also in different aspects. So here, in political lens, so over time, global neoliberal policies have generated a context for the expansion of transnational family migration through the promotion of international travel and internet communication. So here, the government the government political aspects or politics naa sila gihimo na policies na gi-expand ang transnational family migration tungod kay naa sila main goal pod to have ang kanaang naa sila kanaang para makakuha po sila incentives. So evidently, the state desired not only to assert the Filipineness of its former citizen, but also to capitalize on this identity in order to attract capital inflows for wealthy immigrants. So para maka-attract sila og capital inflows. So who in turn desire to secure their investments through the entitlements afforded by the citizenship. So the right to vote would be an essential component of dual citizenship, but it appeared to be the secondary of economic consideration. Kay ilang ang ilang goal diri is to para kanaang maka-generate og income, madako ang kanaang economic capability sa atuhang country. So another strategy pud ni sa government, so politics. So here, next is the economic economic spectrum. So in order to provide economically and materially for their families and children, many transnational mothers have to endure painful and lengthy separation from their children, as it is difficult for them to make frequent visit because of the high cost of traveling, obstacles to taking off, and fear of losing stable jobs. So as what I've said earlier, na because of the reason na na to provide the needs of the family. So gina-endure ang painful gina-endure ni mother or ni father ang kasakit bisag malayo sila sa iyang pamilya to provide lagi the basic needs of their family. So they struggle leaving their children in the care of the female relatives, usually grandmothers and aunts, while they are hard to care for their employers' children. So the kanya na fact is that makita na to sa ato ang society is that instead na kanaang mag-care sila sa ilang own family dito sila sa ilang employers children kay nanarbaho man sa gawa. So they provide noon much mas dako na atensyon sa lain na bata, sa lain na anak. So, a cultural lens, many Filipinos hold the belief that each family member has several duties and responsibilities they must uphold. Yes, a family na agdre lahi na responsibility si mother, si father, as well as the children. So observing one's duties and responsibilities is important in order to correctly respect others and ensure harmony among family members. So Filipina transnational mothers transform the meanings of motherhood to accommodate temporal and spiritual separation from their children and family. So in our culture, di ba, makita na sa culture na dapat if family, whole family, na si mother, consisting of mother, father, as well as the children, na lahi-lahi ang responsibilities. But then, karon sa atong culture is the si mother ga provide og care and then si father ga provide og financial assistance sa bata and either the bata or the mother sa family as a whole. So karon nahitabo lahi na ang kanaang way of kanang nurturing na sa ato ang family kay lahi na ang pag instead of kanaang face to face interaction nahimo na og online na lang ang kanaang communication. So spiritual in a spiritual spectrum, religion is recognized as an influential social institution in the Philippines. So yet, religiosity and spirituality are rarely studied in the context of Filipino family and parent-child relationship. Particular attention is paid by the Philippine transnational mothers the recognition and experience of the sacred, their idea of good life, what they find meaningful and what they understand to be their purpose. So in a spiritual spectrum, pod is kanaang kay tungod aning kanaang example ang isa ka pamilya naka-experience og severe poverty. So ang si mother og si father makahuna-huna sila na ay unsa may hang purpose, unsa may meaning na family member ko na si mother ko, si father ko. So unsa yung purpose? So, di ba? To provide the needs of my family. So mo makahuna-huna dayon sila na ay moadto na lang ko gawas, moadto na lang ko gawas para kanaang matugunan na ako ang kanaang panginahanglan sa akong pamilya. So in that idea, that idea or example. So here environment lens. So transnational families face many of same challenges as immigrant families, but also unique difficulties. So lahi-lahi po ang ilahang ma-encounter na difficulties. So both immigrant and transnational families must learn to adapt to the new culture, learn new language, locate suitable and affordable housing, seek employment, and adjust to the educational and social system in the host country. So diri pod na kanaang analysis is that once na kanaang ma-move ka from one place to another, there is adaptation. So ma-adapt jud ka sa ilahang environment, sa ilahang the way they talk, the way na kanaang they dress, as well as the way na mag-interact to each other. So next is gender. So as opposed to challenging traditional gender norms, the transnational family arrangements reflect, reproduce, and exacerbate traditional gender expectation where motherhood is constructed around caregiving responsibilities and fatherhood around economic provision. Gender rule as a family, gender differences as well as role differences, si mother ko no, should have or should be um, um, around caregiving responsibilities na sila ka na ang responsibilidad sa ilang anak to ka na ang provide and nurture them, to provide care and nurture them. So as the father of the family, they provide economic provision. So transnational mothers often encounter criticism from others in a larger society or their own families for not fulfilling their mothering rules. So because ani na kasagaran na mo ato sa gawas is the mothers man kay maumay ka na ang mas ka na ang mas the feel man nila ang kalisod na dapat ingani ang himuon ingani kay mother ko dapat provide ko sa akong needs sa akong bata. So especially katong mga solo parents, solo parenting na mother. So here tungod kay wala nila na-fulfill ang ilahang needs sa ilahang the care na dapat na madawat sa bata. So they are criticized by the society na they consider themselves as not a good mother. So in describing their situation, many transnational mothers focus on material gains and their ability to provide for their family rather than emotional cost. So bisan ingani ang kanaang hunahuna sa ilaha sa tao sa ilaha, but then ila nang giset aside in order to naa sila main goal lagi to provide for their family. So next is the spec-seg analysis of internally displaced people. So who are they? This is internally displaced people, internally displaced family. So internally displaced people um, or persons are defined according to the 1998 guiding principle as people or groups of people who have been forced or obliged to flee or leave their homes or places of habitual residence. So kani sila ng mga families, kani sila ng mga tao is kanaang na-force sila para mo migrate sa laing lugar kay tungod aning as a result of armed conflict tungod ani or to avoid the effects of armed conflict, situation of generalized violence, violation of human rights or natural or human-made disaster, and who have not crossed an internal border. So dili na to makita, but also maki ma di na nato diri ang experience, but also dito apud sa kuan. So not just kana ang naga-focus ang diri alang sa ato ang country, but also ang uban naga-migrate po dito asa laing nasod. So here are the examples or the illustrations of this internally displaced people tungod sa natural disaster, tungod sa kanang armed conflict, tungod sa kanang violence na nila na-experience sa community. So here, on the social spectrum, some of the most common causes of involuntary movements such as armed conflict, violence, human rights violation, and disaster within the society, community, or country. So these causes have common that they give no choice to people but to leave their homes and deprive them of the most essential protection mechanisms such as community networks, access to services, and livelihoods. So in recent years, wars and conflicts have forced millions of people to leave their homes. So tungod ani, in addition to this short term of causes of displacement, there are also structural causes that have emerged over long periods, such as the poverty. First, poverty, inequality, discrimination, poor governance, shortages of resources, environmental degradation, and food insecurity. Displacement severely affects the physical, socioeconomic, and legal safety of people and should be systematically regarded as an indicator of potential vulnerability. So here in political spectrum, internally displaced person may lack identity, documents essential to receiving benefits or legal recognition. In some cases, fearing persecution, displaced person have sometimes got rid of such documents. So kato ang mga na forced to migrate people, kato mga internally person or families, usually kay na first man sila na kanaang example kato ang sa cases sa kato ang na armed conflict sa Marawi. So sa kadali-dali nila na migrate from one place to another, so mabili na ilang mga documents, ilang mga papel. So sa pagbalis nila, so wala na sila dala na documents. So maglisod na sila sa in case of ang kanaang mga apply og trabaho, and then mang kanaang ma-engage sa kanang different services sa government, which is ang kana ng mga services na ginahanglan og documents ni tao or na individual para ma-appeal sila ana na service or kanaang programs. So according to the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center or IDMC, tens of millions of people around the world are displaced every year within their countries by conflict. So So such as the human rights of the person, of the families, violations, human rights violations, natural disasters, and climate change. Next, in economic spectrum, removal from sources of income and livelihood may add to the physical, psychosocial vulnerability of displaced people. So the main problem of internally displaced peoples or families face in securing economic instability in poor urban areas is obtaining a regular source of income. So tungod aning na na first sila na mo hawa sa ilahang kanaang naanda na place na lugar, and then moadto sila sa kanaang bag-o lang sa ilahan na surrounding na environment sa laing lugar from one place to another. So maka-create ni og conflict sa ilahang economic capacity. So in these terms, maglisod sila og hanap og trabaho kay ang limited lang ang ilang ginahatag sa ilaha. Especially katong mga nawad-an og documents, nawad-an og kanaang mga nawalan ka ng mga IDs, yan na mga cases. So, they typically only have occasional and temporal access to jobs in construction or domestic service. Access to the formal labor market is quite limited. So, just what I said, limited na lang para sa ilaha. So, particularly for them. So, participating in the formal work sector and social security system renders registered internally displaced peoples ineligible for state assistance offered to them. So schooling for children and adolescents may be disrupted. So isa pa ka factor is that na mag-contribute to kanang poverty kay maundang pag-eskwela sa bata, which is dapat na nasuportaan ang pag-eskwela sa bata para may secure ang iyang future. So but then tungod ani ng mga incidents, maglisod man sila og provide, so mahitabo mo stop sa pag-eskwela si children. So cultural spectrum, the social organization of displaced communities may have been destroyed or damaged. So by the act of physical displacement, family groups may be separated or disrupted. So our culture sa different kinds of kanaang beliefs na dapat if family, yes, katong giingon na family, dapat na ang connection, connectedness, relationship, dapat kuan lang kanaang whole. I mean, kanaang dapat connected sila to each other. But then, tungod ani circumstances, separate ang family groups from one another. So women may be forced to assume non-traditional roles or face particular vulnerabilities. Internally displaced population, and especially groups like children, the elderly, or pregnant women may experience profound psychosocial distress related to this displacement. So lahi na sa ilahang culture naandan. So from one place to another, malahi gayud ang kanang ilang kanang culture shock. So next is in a spiritual lens. So because of the deep-rooted faith that God is in control of my future and my family is in His hands. So if there is no longer hope where you are, then you have to do all that you can to get to a place where you can at least cultivate that hope. So I have lost faith in human beings. My only prayer is that I do not let myself lose faith in God. I believe God is my Father and will not abandon me. So because of this unbelief, moingon si in internally displaced people or person na si God na ang bahala, si Lord na ang bahala. He knows everything. He can provide. So many of them have in fact expressed that it was their faith. So bisan nagkamalisod na sila, they put their trust and faith to God. So and their hope in better future for themselves and their loved ones. So that keep them going through their long journey of displacement, especially in moments of greatest trial and suffering. So they must continue hoping even when there are no visible sign of hope anywhere around them. So environment. Internal displacement to areas where local inhabitants are of different groups or inhospitable may increase the risk to internally displaced communities. Internally displaced person may face language barriers during displacement. So not just limited to this factor na maulang ni ang kanaa ilang ilang na encounter na difficulties. But then, dili lang language barrier, but also culture barrier, culture kana shocks, kay kana ang naay culture differences, or nga ng mga instances. So in gender spectrum, women and children are the most vulnerable. So, si women, si teenager, um, and then the children, sila ang mas prone ingani na mga um, in any na incidents. So they face a series of abuses, and sometimes they suffer attacks and or relocation from one IDP camp to another. So pag mag-migrate na gani, from one place to another, kaya na-force na sila ang mas vulnerable. So some of these children came to these camps without their parents. Ang uban pagkikit mo sa kadali-dali lagi kay example, gira na so kinsa pa may di magdali-dali, so ma-separate na si parent as well as the children. Ang uban pa gayud na instances is that ana ang wala kahibaw si children na namatay na dahil ilahang parents sa gera or sa natural calamities or such as typhoons, so namatay na di ay si na separate kay dito si na bilo dito si na uban sa lain na family nga mga cases. So most of them came, especially the children who had eye diseases, malaria, fatigue, hungry, and traumatized. So women came to the camps either pregnant, ang uban pagajud ng mga women bruised, and then they na-rape pagajud tungod sa kanaang kanaang sa violence na tungod sa kanang example the armed conflict. So na-rape na sila sa mga lalaki na kanaang nagnasa sila. So na there are acute job opportunities pod sa mga babae and inadequate school to cater to the specific population. So, expected analysis to our next topic, the solo parenting. So, solo parenting. So, what is what we call the solo parenting? So, who are those solo parents? So, single or solo parent is a person who has child or children but does not have a spouse or live-in partner to assist in upbringing or support of the child. So sila lang isa ang ga-nurture and ga-care, ga-provide sa ilahang children, sa ilang child. So they are parents who are raising their minor children alone with no spouse, cohabiting partner, parent, sibling, adult child, or roommate in their home. So social, the stigma is particularly hard on single parents. So para sa society, lisod kaayo ang mahimong single parent. So idea of single parenting is very sensitive issue in the family system and brings risk factors for emotional and behavioral problems in children and adolescents as well, especially to single mothers. So sa atong society, as solo parent ka, maingon dadyo na sila na naangkan na nabiyaan, nagpaangkan. So that perspective. So in political lens, single motherhood remains associated with numerous risks and disadvantages. In addition to their disadvantages in the labor market and their greater risk of poverty. So mothers also tend to be less politically active. So di sila active sa political in terms of political aspects. So which is most visible with regard to their electoral participation. So politics has traditionally not been particularly attentive to or generous regarding to the needs of single mothers as either women or mothers. So dili pud ang kanaang government pod wala pud nagtutok sa ilaha sa tutok sa paghatag og services sa mga solo parents. So in economic, a single parent often faces financial challenges. Yes, of course, kay sila raman isa ang ga-provide sa ilahang needs sa ilahang children. Wala ka ng katimbang, wala si father o wala si way lalaki na makaatimbang sa iyahang kuan sa responsibilities. So, the death of the spouse can leave the surviving spouse with unexpected bills. Ang uban pagkasud kay na pag namatay lang ba na, so nabilin ang kanang mga bayronon, mga utang. So, na na ang plus responsibilities pagajud sa ang pag-raise a child. Then, single parents are also restricted and the type of work opportunities and available hours due to abundant family responsibilities. So, in any na case, kay tungod kay single parent man, ang uban na kanaang job opportunities, kanaang lagi job opportunities, dili sila dawaton pod sa kanaang sa pag-apply. Example, ga-apply si kanang solo parent, di sila dawaton kay tungod kay um, dili na mabahin na ang ilang oras kay daghan na kaayo ang ilang responsibility sa pamilya pa lamang daan. So this can lead to limited income and inability to pay for basic necessities. So many single parents work and go to school to improve employment opportunities. So ang uban na kana ang parents kani single parent, ang uban pod na miskoylarakan kay para kanang ma-achieve nila ang employment opportunities, ang kanang makatrabaho sila og stable. So this leaves little time to help the children with homework. So as a result, the children pod grades may sink and they begin to fail classes and eventually drop out of school na makaapekto pod sa ilahang bata sa social functioning as well as sa education sa bata. So cultural. As a part of Filipino culture, the rules of parents often revolve around their families. So, as part of our culture as Filipinos, so most of their everyday affairs are focused on taking care of their child or children. Their rules and the community and their social life are most of the time differed by their family affairs. So, mothers and fathers complement each other. Mother provide emotional warmth, while father provide a strong sense of security. So, this is part of our culture. So mothers soothe a child and the father stimulate a child. All parents play an important role in a child's life. So hence, um, single parenting can lead to more negative psychosocial outcome in children. So tungod ani na kanang panghunahuna sa our culture, as part of our culture, si bata, si kanang ilahang bata or the child, um, na ang makahuna-huna na hala nganong ing-ani man nganong kanaang broken ang family nganong dili man mi kumpleto nganong dili man mi complete, so maka-cause na dayon mediate the child well-being and those control hostility. So makuha na dayon ang bata, magdumot na dayon ang bata hala nganong ing-ani man, so especially kanaang sa ilahang father mas minumot na hala gibiyaan nila ang iyang ang mama. So in that specific example. So spiritual. Marriage is a legal union to God that contract between two people that establish their rights and obligations. So dapat in forming a family, sacred ang family life kay sacred pod ang marriage. So dapat pod once na magbuo ka og family, dapat you are in married, you are kanang ikasal sa mo, deserve ka makaanak. So as part po na sa atuhang kuan as Filipinos, as well as Christians. So having a child within marriage is considered an expectation or social norm in most religious communities, and mothers who are married before having a child may face less stress than non-married mothers. Religion gives parents certain rules and encourages them to raise their children in a certain way. So single-parent homes are increasing in our society. So the major causes of this are divorce. Isa pala dyan sa mga cause ani is ang divorce na ginagdili sa simbahan tungod kay sa atong spiritual thinking, is spiritual beliefs. So that and the choice to remain single either as a lesbian or gayist. So this has a lot of negative impacts and effects on a child's spiritual development and social functioning. So in environment, children with single mother reveal increased health risk and live under significantly pooring housing and environmental condition. Tungod lagi kay dili mahatag tanan ni solo parent, is solo parenting mother ang tanan na kinahanglan ni child. So growing up in disadvantaged environment changes a child's life brain stress system, and social functioning, so increase a child's vulnerability to chronic diseases later in life. So in gender, so the structural problem of single compared to dual parenting may affect the level of anxiety, especially in women. So kasagaran ga jud ang vulnerable ani is ang women. So since a separated mother normally assumes both breadwinner and homemaker roles, she will be typically under greater stress. So si mother ang mas maka-receive og stress than if she has a partner with whom she could divide the parental duties. So kaysa sa kanaang naasadyay ka na ang katuwang na diyan nasa yabana, so kanaang ma-divide ang kanaang responsibilities. So changes in family structure and organization as well as circumstances may cause stress in mother's life. So next, Hazel. Nakamute ka, Hazel.
Next is the specific analysis of teen parenting. Next, adolescent parenting refers primarily to women and men 19 years or younger who gave birth to and select to parent a child. Although most adolescent pregnancies are unintended, an increasing number of pregnant adolescents choose to continue the pregnancy and become parents. So kasagaran gid ani no kay ang mga below 19 ang mga ginikanan na sayo nag ano minyo nag mga do do nay uban nga gina-abort nila ilang mga baby do napoy uban nga ginapadayon gyapon nila nga buhion nilang nila ilang mga baby. Next. So in social lens, poverty, a lack of access to education and resources, on societal attitudes and stereotypes about teenage parents can all have impact on their ability to provide for and raise their children. Furthermore, from a social lens perspective, these factors have an impact on the children of teenage parents, such as how poverty and lack of resources affect their health and education and overall well-being. So, tungod sa kalisod sa kinabuhi, maglisod na sila og kuan kanang pag-eskwela, walay resources nya maka makaapekto pud kani sa ilaha nga sa ila as bata pa nga ginikanan nya makaapekto pud sa ilang sa ilang health and sa overall na nila nga panginabuhi. Next. From a political lens perspective, examine how policies and laws of the local, state, and federal levels impact the experiences and outcomes of teenage parents. This would look at the how policies affecting education, welfare, healthcare, and child care affect adolescent parents and their ability to provide for and raise their children. Cuts the welfare programs, for example, a lack of affordable child care can make it difficult for teenage parents to support themselves and their children. Similarly, it would look into how policies that limit access to comprehensive sex education and birth control can contribute to higher rates of adolescent pregnancy. In economic lens, women who become mothers as teenagers are at greater risk of social economic disadvantage throughout their lives than those who delay childbearing until their 20s. So kasagaran gid mga teenager nga mga mama no kay kanang nagid sila sa risk nga risk sa social and also in economic disadvantage. Also they are less likely to compete complete their education, be employed, earn high wages, and be happily married. So kay sayo man siya nagminyo, kanang lisod na para sa iya nga makaw man og eskwela, lisod na maka-apply og trabaho, lisod na pud nga pag mag-apply siya og work is maglisod siya nga lisod na para sa iya maka-apply og trabaho nga tarong nga naay sakto nga sweldo. Also nga dili na pud sa kanang kasagaran mga ingana is dili na malipayon sa ilang married life once na uto na pud sila nagminyo like sibali og gibuwagan sila sa ilang kaninyoan karon once na mag-inyo sila uto na ay chance na dili sila malipayon. So the cost could include decreased earnings of income, increased the government assistance. So kay sayo mo pagminyo no niya pobre pa gyud ka. Nanglan na lang gyud ka assistance gikan sa gobyerno. Mo na lang imong gisaligan mo nga na possible nga naka-effect sa imong sa bata nga sa iyang pagdako. Next. So, in cultural lens, examining the societal and cultural beliefs and values that shape how teen parenting is perceived and experienced through a cultural lens. For example, in some cultures and societies, teenage motherhood is stigmatized and can result in negative outcomes, such as social isolation and lack of support. So, kasagaran no kay syempre pag sayo ka nagminyo, sayo ka naburos, na nakay anak, dili na gid kayo kaganahan makig-socialize kay maulaw naman ka ikaw bata pa na ni anak samtang nang uban dira isip pag-eskwela, nanarbaho pa, kalaag-laag pa, so ikaw nga maulaw na lang pud ka makig-socialize. Tapos cultural norms and expectations regarding gender roles, family dynamics, and child rearing practices may influence teenage parents' experiences. Traditional gender roles, for example, may dictate that the father is not involved in child rearing or that teenage mothers are expected to drop out and not pursue further education. So siyempre ikaw man nga babae nga ikaw may naburos dili man gid pwede nga ang lalaki ang maburos so mapugos na lang gid pud ka nga mag-drop out o dili na magpadayon sa imong pag-eskwela. Next, Zel. In spiritual lens, examining how religious or spiritual beliefs shape teen parenting experiences from a spiritual standpoint. For example, certain religious or spiritual traditions may regard parenthood as a sacred responsibility, whereas others may regard it as a natural or even undesirable outcome of sexual activity. So sa spiritual no kay kasagaran sa kanang maingana nga panghitabo nga sayo ka na buros gituohan na siya sa spiritual lens nga murag natural or even undesirable outcome of sexual activities siguro sa beliefs ra sa spiritual na nagpadala ka sa kademonyohan sa imong nagpadala ka sa imong ingana nga pamati which is mao na resulta. Furthermore, investigating how religious or spiritual beliefs may influence how parents in the community respond to and support teen parents. For example, certain religious or spiritual communities may offer support, resources, and guidance to adolescent parents, whereas others may regard adolescent pregnancy as moral failure and offer a little assistance. Next, an environmental lens, the ways which the physical and social surroundings of teenage parents may impact their parenting experiences. For example, an environment with limited access to healthcare, education, or job opportunities may make it more difficult for teenage parents to provide for the children, and negatively. So sa environment no kay limited lang ang ma-access nga healthcare sa teen nga ginikanan sa pag-eskwela sa hinay pud wala pud kay opportunity sa trabaho, which is nga which is may dahilan nga maglisod ang teen nga ginikanan sa pag-provide sa iyang anak. So in genderland, many young girls face significant pressure to marry and have children while they are still children. Girls with a low level of education are 5 times more likely to become mothers than those with. So katong mga kuan na katong medyo hina og mga utok madukunon kay kasagaran nga maburot og kayo, malingi og kayo kaysa sa atong mga arangan kuno og utok. From gender lens, the ways in which societal gender norms and expectations shape the experiences of teenage parents, particularly teenage mothers. For example, traditional gender roles may dictate that teenage mothers would be responsible for the majority of child-rearing responsibilities while father so kasagaran gid ani no kay ginabiyaan gid ang ang babae once naburos na kay siguro mahadlok nga makasuporta, mahadlok nga nanay anak, nanay responsibilidad. So alsa gid kaayo sa babae nga part nga ing-ana iya hatanan. Next slide. Wexeg analysis of grandparenting. Grandparenting is a phenomenon in the Philippines. Grandparents attending to their grandchildren in school and at home. It is a common scenario. They are they serve as caregivers or child minders, extending financial, physical, moral, and spiritual support. So, kasagaran gid ani grandparenting is katong mga lolo-lola nga nahimo nang ginikanan ana nga mga bata. Tapos sila tong mga naga naga-support us in moral, physical, and spiritual. Social lens. Social lens, they play 100 roles for their grandchildren, often believing that being a disciplinarian is not one of them. So kasagaran gid sa mga lolo or lola nga nahimo ng kanang ginikanan sa ilang mga apo kay dili gid kaayo uso ang kanang magdisiplina nga mamunal like ingana tapos ang kasagaran ana is kanang more on kanang kuan lang istorya lang nga ingana na dili kay magpalabig pabadlong. Also kasagaran pod nga atong mga lolo lola nga kasagaran pod sa mga lolo lola is emphasize pod ang kaimportantihan sa pag-eskwela og tarong. In political lens, the lack of focus on grandparents' roles in the process of political reproduction is most likely due to lack of data spanning 3 generations. Next. Economic lens. Most grandparents are in abject situation. Whose health they are poor whose health is fragile and delicate but are still compelled to work to support themselves and their grandchildren. So kasagaran sa mga grandparents is nagatrabaho gyapon bisag lisod na para sa ila tungod sa ilang health niya. Dali na lang sila kuanan og sakit pero nagtrabaho gyapon para makasuporta sa ilang kaugalingon ug para sa ilang mga apo. Grandparents raise their children for a variety of reasons. Most of these reasons reflect difficulties experienced by the grandchild's parents, which prevent, prevents the parents from caring from their children. Grandparents frequently raise their grandchildren as a result of parental substance abuse and neglect, unemployment, incarceration, HIV/AIDS, mental or physical illness, adolescent pregnancy, child disability, divorce, military deployment, abandonment, and death. Next. It is in our culture to respect elders, and even raising voice to them is considered disrespectful. That will attract disappointed glances from onlookers. Grandparents also offer a link to the child's cultural heritage and family history. Children understand more of who they are and where they are came from through their connection with their grandparents. Grandparents provide a sense of security. Next. Environmental lens. Grandparents provide a safe place for their grandchildren, making them feel loved and secure, which is especially important during times of difficulty or stress. Their unconditional acceptance and loving support will be treasured by their grandchildren for the rest of their lives. During the family conflict, grandparents can be a huge help. They occasionally act as playmates for their grandchildren. They frequently serve as models and mentors to your younger generations. Gender lens. Grandparent roles satisfaction may vary by gender. Grandmothers reported higher levels of satisfaction in the grandparent role than grandfathers, implying the continuity of maternal involvement on child rearing. They make women more comfortable and satisfied in the grandparent role. Grandmothers were more likely than grandfathers to participate in religious activ- recreational and religious activities, and family gatherings with their grandchildren. Similarly, grandchildren reported more contact with their grandmothers than with their grandfathers. So kasagaran sa ginikanan nga lolo ug lola is mas suod ang apo sa lola kay mas mas dako ang pagsuporta, ang pagpa-feel nga love siya, unlike sa lolo kay siyempre lalaki man dili man gid pod showy. Next.
So we are here at the programs and services. So this program is intended to assist socially disadvantaged families to develop their capability in defining needs and formulating solutions to bring about desired social changes. So the target beneficiaries of this program and services are the parents, surrogate parents, solo parents who belong to the low income group, families with problems in relationships, and then unemployed family heads and other needy adults. So first service or program is the Parent Effectiveness Services. So this service provision is a provision of knowledge and techniques to parents on early childhood enrichment, healthcare, husband-wife, and parent-child relationship, and responsible parenthood in order to enable parents to adequately rear and inculcate positive satisfying husband-wife as well as parent-children's relationship and develop social consciousness of family members. So this is undertaken through Neighborhood Parent Effectiveness Assembly. So NPAA, so or Daycare Services Parent Effectiveness Group or DCSPEG. So second is the Planned Responsible Parenthood Service. So this refers to the value of inculcation and counseling geared toward the promotion of responsible parenthood, and family well-being. So it is addressed to married couples of reproductive age. So married couples with problems with home management and couples who have expressed desire and acceptance of any family planning method. So it is undertaken through counseling and referrals. So next is the family enterprise assistance. So what is this kind of service? So it is the provision of interest-free capital assistance, livelihood-oriented services to familiarize them to engage in income-generating projects and those develop them to become self-reliant and socially responsible. So it is also addressed to needy families heads and other family members who have no vocational or business management skills in undertaking a livelihood project or have no capital to start a business. So next is the social service for solo parents or the SSSP. So this service is rendered through a group process wherein a solo parent, either a widowed, abandoned, separated, or unwed. So who has difficulty in coping with the situation develops inside through group discussion and information. So modifies negative behavior through group control and discussion. They develop confidence through participation in group activities, identifies opportunities and services she or he needs, and prevents probable breakdown. So it is referral is also undertaken where the services of a psychiatrist, lawyer, or priest are needed to enhance and or develop the coping mechanism of a solo parents. Nakamute ka, Sai.
Number 5 is marriage counseling service. It is both preventive and developmental with the goal of promoting healthy marriages and reducing the risk of marriage breakdown. It is a process that assists couples desiring to get married and married couples develop an understanding of the nature of marriage, family life, and rational attitude of and behavior towards marriage life situations. Number 6 is the family casework service, a short-term type of counseling that aims to bring together troubled individuals and their families as a group to assess and help out sort out problems affecting them. It is addressed to families with problems in their relationships as a result of crisis situations or poor communication, and families with distressed member. Number 7 is the practical skills development, job placement for family heads or male adults is provided to family heads and other family members without practical skills for income generating activities. Family heads and other family members who have practical skills but lack of motivation to go into gainful employment. Those family heads and other family members who have practical skills with motivation but need a referral. These undertaken through vocational skills developments, job counseling for family heads, male adults, and referral for family heads, male adults. Next. Number 8 is Integrated Family Resource Center, a volunteer self-managed facility that aims to promote and strengthen family life and values and empower families by building their capabilities to manage and access to community-based support and services to other families in the community. Number 9 is ala. Number 9 is the responsible parenthood service, counseling on the values of spacing and child spacing and planned family size as well as the resolution of psychosocial barriers to the practice of child spacing and planning the size of the family. Last is the empowerment and reaffirmation of parental abilities. an intervention that gives importance and emphasis to the father's parental roles, responsibilities, and abilities through activities, promotive and effective performance of familial tasks of Filipino fathers. It involves the conduct of modular sessions for fathers, equipping them with the necessary knowledge, attitudes, and skills to conduct of enrichment activities that will empower Filipino fathers for them to achieve a fulfilling experience of being a father.
Okay, next is our personal insights about our topic. So, family is a word that many people know but few understand. In the Philippines, family represent the culture, beliefs, and traditions that only Filipinos have. We live in a modern era where change is unavoidable. Because of this, Filipino families must adapt to these changes. Looking at how globalization affects our country's culture, beliefs, and traditions, these are some of the visible changes in what constitute a Filipino family today. So, Filipino families followed old traditions during the preceding years. Today, both the father and the mother are considered the family's head and provider, whereas previously only the father was considered the head of the and provider. Aside from that, many Filipino families must deal with separation. Both the mother and father frequently travel abroad because they believe that the Philippines is no longer a desirable place to live. As a result, the family becomes like Americans who are divided by distance. So, furthermore, Filipino teenagers and their parents are becoming more accepting of one another. Even as modernization alters the way the typical Filipino family lives, the imminent definition of Filipino remains. That's all. Thank you.